in their very first game. And they do the double in the Premier League over Brentford for the first time. Arsenal just exchanging passes midway inside the Brentford half on this near stand side. White to Ødegaard for Gabriel. Now to the brilliant Granit Xhaka. What a season he has had. As Alexander Zinchenko slides one through, and Nketiah tried to offload it to Xhaka, who continued his run. Slight breakdown of communication right at the end of the move, but Trevor, till then, that was pretty silky.
It was, and Brentford, apart from the kickoff, have hardly touched the ball in the first couple of minutes of the game. Arsenal being in full control of it. Xhaka just got himself caught on his heels there, because Nketiah turned beautifully on the edge of the box, created a little bit of space for him, tried to thread the ball to Xhaka, who was just outside him, but I think he thought he might just be going offside, dug his heels in, and the moment an opportunity was gone.
Goal kick from David Raya in the Brentford goal. Brentford with Raya between the sticks. Christopher Ajer into the team with Ethan Pinnock and Ben Mee as a back three. Now to Roslev is in as a right wing back with Rico Henry on the other side. Vitaly Janelt into the side as well with Christian Norgard and Matthias Jensen. And it's Ivan Toney and Brian Mbeumo, the two up top. 3 changes to their big win against Southampton last time out. Wissa, De Silva and Hickey, the players who have dropped down to the bench. Brentford struggled to keep hold of the ball for too long. Arsenal coming forward again. Nice through ball from White. Nketiah running tirelessly to Saka. Through to Ødegaard. He tries to get a shot away. It's well blocked in the end by a combination of Pinnock and Henry. Nketiah with a good delivery. Xhaka was nearly there. Ajer's convinced he was fouled. Decision in the end is a shove in the back of Christopher Ajer by Granit Xhaka, who's pleading his case. Brentford, I don't know if they get away with one or not, but at least they earn a breather because they're very much under the cosh early on.
Yeah, and Nketiah had time to put a really good ball right on the 6-yard box. Don't really think there was a foul there. Ajer goes to ground.
He was getting already, wasn't he?
He was already, because the ball was slightly behind him. He was having to, as you said, fall to the ground to get his head on the ball. But Xhaka was penalised there by Peter Banks, our referee today. But so far, it's all Arsenal. Nothing clear-cut, though, at this moment in time. But you can see how clever and tricky they are with the ball around the penalty area. There always seems to be an option for Arsenal.
Yeah, the interplay is excellent. When Gabriel Jesus got injured, it just suffered for a little while as Nketiah found his way in the team, not in terms of goals so much, but in terms of that interplay. And I think in time, he is now really nicely linked up with those around him.
I would agree with you. I think he's come on leaps and bounds as far as confidence to hang on to the ball and deliver his passes, or release the ball at the right time. So his decision making is a lot better.
Yeah, not taking too long. And of course, Jesus still out injured. Started the season so brilliantly. We'll be back before the end of the season. We don't know exactly when. Mikel Arteta talking about it in the week. I would say possibly late March, early April, just trying to judge from what Arteta said, which is later than initially hoped. But Jesus will be back at some stage. Brentford attack for the first time in the game. Lovely low delivery and a wonderful opportunity. Cross bent in from the far side by Toney turning provider. And I think that was Rico Henry, the left wing back, who'd come sauntering across, stretched out his leg and nearly guided it toward goal, Trevor.
Well, I told you they're dangerous, and there was no offsides there at all. Ivan Toney gets released down the right-hand side and knocks the ball in. Defender's nightmare between the back line and the goalkeeper. And honestly, it was so unfortunate for Rico Henry that he just couldn't get the right connection on the ball because it was an open goal.
Ramsdale did do well for me to come out and narrow down the angle. Didn't overcommit, but just came and made it harder, didn't he, for the wing-back?
Yeah, he did well, but he didn't really have many options because it was such a good ball in, and he didn't really have that much time to move anywhere. So he just had to spread himself as much as possible. He was very brave, I have to say, because Rico Henry was coming in at speed, and the ball just goes wide of the post.
It's a great creative play from Ivan Toney. We know about his goals, 14 in all competitions this season. But just there, he showed us that he can assist and set up beautifully as well. And that was pretty impressive. In the end, Henry wide of goal by some distance under pressure from Ramsdale. But the first proper opportunity of the game goes Brentford's way despite Arsenal's strong start. Arsenal fans not too happy about how long it's taking the Dane Matthias Jensen to take this long throw. Wearing 8, he eventually delivers. It loops forward. It's flicked on by Christopher Ajer. Headed partially clear by the Arsenal defence. Picked up by Vitaly Janelt, the German. One of those 3 changes to Frank's side from the 3-0 win over Southampton. Back to keeper David Raya. Long, flat delivery. Trying to find Ben Mee. That superb signing we talked about pre-match on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Mee, though, can't quite control it under pressure from Alexander Zinchenko, and now Arsenal can come forward. White infield to Bukayo Saka. He's got Rico Henry all over him, but Saka turns the former Walsall man nicely, and that means there's a gap where Henry should have been. Ben White, surging forward, tries to exploit that said gap to Ødegaard in field. Delightful dinked ball over the top. First time in the game, really. Here's Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli could have run at his man. Instead, tried a fairly powerful pass to Granit Xhaka. And Xhaka was probably too close to have any chance of controlling that. It ricocheted off the Swiss. Brentford, though, couldn't really handle the ball, and Arsenal come forward again. Great free ball. Here's Martinelli. Oh, goodness me. Forced wide by Raya. Lost his footing. Nearly got a shot in. In the end, from the acute angle, Raya makes the block. It's behind for a corner. But a great free ball. Almost Martinelli opening the scoring.
Yeah, defence splitting pass from Ødegaard. He's taken 3 or 4 Brentford players out just by slipping that ball through. I thought Martinelli could have hit that first time, decided to take a touch, took him wide of the goals, and he tries to bring it back across goals, but the angle was tight, but he gets the corner for his team.
Slightly off balance, do you think? And that's maybe why he took that extra touch as he came through?
Slightly, but it was worth almost throwing yourself in a ridiculous shape to try and get connection on the ball.
And we've seen him actually do that very thing before.
Yeah, he wanted to try and make it a certainty, but his touch was just that little bit heavy. Could have taken the risk on that one.
So it is an Arsenal corner. Bent in for Bukayo Saka. It was an excellent delivery. He's got loose to Zinchenko. It really opened up for Alexander Zinchenko there. Former Man City man looking for his first Arsenal goal. Had the freedom of the penalty area after that. Corner was only partially cleared. But Zinchenko, about 6-7 yards over the bar, should surely have done much better.
Well, it fell to his wrong foot, and it's got to be said, Zinchenko is very much a left-footed player. Falls to his right foot, 15 metres out, on the volley more or less, and he tries to take the casing off the ball there. Just tries to hit it far too hard. Just need to get it on target.
It is Six Nations rugby season. You were at Twickenham at the weekend. I should have been had I not been ill. That would have been a nice 3-point penalty over the post, wouldn't it?
It was, and that literally ended up on the top tier here.
Yep, it was literally on the top tier, and to get it onto the top tier here at Emirates is quite an achievement because it's very, very high. Arsenal coming forward again through Saka. Showed a bit too much of that one to Matthias Jensen, who put in a crunching challenge. Brentford moved the ball to halfway, but Brian Mbeumo can't quite get there. Thomas Partey, the Ghanaian midfielder, wins the ball back calmly, effortlessly. What he loves to do for the Gunners, what he's done so well, particularly this season when he's had a long run of being fully fit. He's also great moving forward and just injecting pace into moves, but his ball winning and his anchorman play is absolutely excellent. He found White. Now as far as Ødegaard. Around our referee Peter Banks, as far as Zinchenko, as Arsenal switch the passage of play from right to left. Martinelli. Back to Zinchenko, being closely shackled by Vitaly Janelt. And also by Mads Ruslev. Another Dane on his return to the team. Dink over the top this time. Once more from Partey. Here's Zinchenko. Left edge of the penalty area with 3 Brentford players on him. Zinchenko in the end runs out of options and is forced to go back as far as William Saliba. Now to Partey again. Ben White in the middle of the field, about midway inside the Brentford half, is in space. To Bukayo Saka. Left-footed in-swinging delivery from the right edge of the penalty area. Partially cleared by Brentford. But Arsenal come again through Martinelli. Now to Zinchenko. Mbeumo tries to dispossess him. Can't do so. Gabriel this time with a tough challenge. Legally so. Effort from distance from Martinelli. Takes a deflection. And in the end the ball loops high. And spins into the gloves of David Raya.
Yeah, the ball's been moved nice and quickly by Arsenal, and they're doing everything they can. But this defence that Thomas Frank has set up, it's very much that V formation when you've got 5 across the back and then you've got all the rest of your players very, very narrow. And Arsenal finding that very difficult to break down.
Now, Mbeumo has got the ball in the back of the net for Brentford, but we're not getting too excited because the whistle blew from Peter Banks for a shove. He's adjudged to have pushed Gabriel before then bearing down on goal. Let's have a look at the replay. God, there's not much in that.
There's not. It looks like Gabriel's feet have just gone from underneath him, really, there.
Other end, here's Eddie Nketiah. Oh, my goodness. Chances at both ends. Mbeumo perhaps unlucky. At the other end, in almost a similar situation, Nketiah was up against Ethan Pinnock and he tried to spin off the Jamaican international's shoulder. In the end, Brentford defend that one probably better than Arsenal did at the other end.
just being able to have a little look at what that sort of coming together between Mbeumo and Gabriel. And for me, there was nothing. I think Gabriel went down far too easily, slipped in fact, and that wasn't to do really with the presence of Mbeumo.
No wonder the Cameroon international was so incensed, and he still is. He's still talking to the referee's assistant on this near stand side, saying, why on earth was that given? I think it was Tony who won the flick on. That freed his strike partner. Gabriel, basically tried to go shoulder to shoulder, fell, and got the decision. That was pretty lucky.
No,
from an Arsenal point of view.
They got out of jail there, Arsenal, to be quite honest with you. And all right, there's 12 minutes gone in the game. The two best opportunities or chances have come to Brentford, despite Arsenal having all the ball.
Yeah, ball in the net that was perhaps wrongly ruled out. And that chance earlier as well for Rico Henry, that Ramsdale managed to put him off for the fired wide. We approach 12 and a half minutes. One thing that's been a real consistent this season is the Arsenal fans being behind their team. If occasionally they're losing or in games that they're struggling to make the breakthrough, fans very much are there, and we just heard them now cheering their players on and trying to urge them on to that opening goal. After a strong start here on Premier League Live, it's been mostly Brentford in recent minutes. Arsenal 0, Brentford 0. Elsewhere, still goalless Crystal Palace Brighton, goalless Southampton Wolves, goalless Fulham Nottingham Forest. There's been a goal at Leicester Spurs, we'll go there in a moment, but here come Arsenal. Ødegaard behind Saka frustratingly. Ben White couldn't get there. Rico Henry dummies it. It's out for a goal kick. And for a second, as Ødegaard surged forward, probably should have maybe tried to find Saka rather than White.
Just made the wrong decision there, and you can't say that very often about Ødegaard. He normally gets things pretty well spot on.
Had a frustrating game against Everton, though, didn't he, to be fair, which again was rare because he'd been wonderful in several games in a row before that.
Yeah, he did. When teams play at home, you tend to get a little bit more space because teams are definitely sort of sitting back and giving you the ball at times. I thought against Everton, that Everton were in the faces of Arsenal, literally through the whole 90 minutes. Didn't let anyone rest easy on the ball. And Brentford have got that similar thing going on here.
At TalkSport Live, keep your tweets coming in. We have had loads from around the world already. Thank you very much for those. Shannon Blythe, a yucky rainy day here in Lower Alabama. Need a win for my Palace today. I'll brave the nasty weather and count on you guys to call a cracking game to get my blood pumping and keep me warm. Let's go for a run. Shannon, thank you very much. And a nice picture of her backyard and swimming pool there in Alabama. Michael Percy. Mike from Orangeville, Ontario, Canada. It's -5 and cloudy. Mike says, come on, you bees. Brentford on the defensive at the moment. Arsenal through Martinelli coming forward. 14 gone. 1-2 with Xhaka. Options inside, a tad limited. Not a huge amount of movement from his Arsenal teammates. Ben White, the right back, now picks the ball up. Edge of the D. Martinelli offloads to Thomas Partey. Now to Xhaka, tries to dink one in, looking for Eddie Nketiah. Ethan Pinnock, not for the first time, makes the interception. Stretching. Jensen wins the ball, but then can't quite control it. And again, Thomas Partey wins it back. He's so good at that, isn't he?
Yeah, that's a key element to Arsenal winning the ball back, Thomas Partey. And they miss him, I think, when he's not playing.
Ball's gone loose as far as Saka. Slightly lucky ricochet. Bukayo Saka right through on goal. He was falling, got his shot away straight at David Raya. He reacted and made the stop, the Spaniard. Saka, slightly by hook or crook, weaved his way through and nearly poked that one home for the opener.
Yeah, clever play between Saka and Ødegaard. It's a little 1-2 on the right-hand side of their attack. Gets Saka in towards goal. And Rico Henry does well not to bring him down, to be truthful. There was little bits of contact on him, but not enough for a referee to give a penalty.
Or had that been further out and Saka had time to actually fall, maybe there could have been a question, but he had to get his shot away because he was pretty much on the goal line by that point.
Yeah, it was. That's what tells you there wasn't enough contact on him. He still felt that he was in control and able to get a shot away, which he did do, but straight at the goalkeeper.
Raya made the save. David Raya, who's turned down 2 offers of new contracts at Brentford. Thomas Frank saying that maybe shows where his mind is at medium to long term. But Raya saying he is very happy at Brentford at the moment, linked to Spurs, Chelsea and Man United. I'll get Trevor's thoughts on that in a second. I'm not quite sure he's good enough, but that's my take. Saka to White, right edge of the box again. Here's Martin Ødegaard, running at Christopher Ayer. Goes infield. Space now for Gabriel. Fans appreciate that. Gabriel, 2 goals to his name this season. Thought about pulling the trigger potentially for a third. He's won it back again. Now to the left-hand side, edge of the box. Zinchenko, Xhaka's cross, appeals for handball. Nothing given. That was Aya who'd gone across to the other side. Zinchenko picks up a loose ball and fires in a really powerful cross shot. Excellent work from the Ukrainian, little room to operate. And Zinchenko, flashy one across goal. Raya makes the stop and holds on to it crucially first time.
What a lovely little drop of the shoulder and a change of pace from Zinchenko, which allows him to be able to get that cross in. Too near the goalkeeper, unfortunately, for Arsenal, but really good play from the Ukrainian, as you said.
A lot of players still looking for their first Arsenal goals. Ben White, Zinchenko, obviously. Several others from the new signings as well, plus Tomiyasu. Quite a few who have yet to break their duck competitively for Arsenal. Zinchenko mightily close to leaving that list behind him. We are going to go to that Leicester Spurs game in a moment, where there has been a goal for Tim Long. All our other matches, Southampton Wolves, Fulham Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace Brighton and 0-0. We're goalless here after an entertaining 17 minutes so far. Arsenal the leaders versus their informed London rivals Brentford. Earlier, if you missed it, 1-1 West Ham Chelsea in front of John Anderson and Hogan Ephraim. And to come, Toby Gillies and Dave Kitson will guide us through Bournemouth against Newcastle. That's a 5:30 kickoff with the boys from 5:15 UK. Ben White, seen plenty of the ball so far. Ball through ball though, trying to find Saka, no chance. Rico Henry got there first. They're at 6s and 7s, the Brentford defence, and it means that Arsenal easily win it back through, guess who, Partey to Zinchenko. Again, thought about a shot, little 1-2 with Martinelli. Partey's got Tony all over him. Ivan Tiny doing some good defensive work, the striker. But Partey again emerges with the ball at midway, inside the Brentford half. Here's White again on the right edge of the box. Now to Ødegaard, 1-2. White needs to clip this one in first time. Instead, he cuts in field. Not a bad decision. Beat Jensen. Ødegaard's cross is overhit. It's just out of play. Let's take you up to the East Midlands.
Corner again. Dangerous area, this time in. Torrid defending again from Leicester. They failed to get the ball out of their 6-yard box. It's an own goal. Goalkeeper didn't come. Defenders didn't clear. And Tottenham inside of 15 minutes have the lead.
Tim Long, thank you very much. Sounds like a bit of a horror show for the Leicester defence. Quickly taken throw from Brentford will be retaken. Yeah, Danny Ward started the season a bit shakily, then seemed to settle in, but post the World Cup, not just he, the whole Leicester defence seems to be all over the shop.
I think it's inconsistency that they have, and you get these sort of self-inflicted wounds, you know, when you're not playing to your best. And it's been a very checkered season, hasn't it, for Leicester?
Just for a second there, Brentford tried to make something happen, and Gabriel had to make the interception. Again, Brian Mbeumo, the man who got the ball into the goal and probably should have seen that count, was the man creating the trouble. Brentford corner, their first of the game to match Arsenal's earlier.
They're really impressive, Brentford. You know, the way they defend, and then they defend so well, so compact, so organised. And then they're so lively when they get a sniff of space in Arsenal's half. And they do look a threat. All their players now huddling together for this corner in from the left-hand side.
Jensen and Mbeumo, the two players over it. Jensen leaves it to the man wearing 19. Outswinging delivery was a decent one. Pinnock ghosting in from the back. Ethan Pinnock's effort from about 8 yards out through a congested box has taken a nick, and it's behind Trev for another corner.
Yeah, it just looked like he was getting a little bit of space off Ødegaard. He nudged him out the way, and it looked like he could get his left foot on that. I think he did, but came off Ødegaard and went for the corner.
Victor Emmanuel at TalkSport Live. Good afternoon, Russ. I want Arsenal to lose 100%. Okay, Victor, that was fairly clear. We'll see whether or not Brentford could get a goal here to make your day. Mbeumo, outswinger again. Good header clear from Gabriel, because Ramsdale thought about coming, then decided not to, and that would have been a clear header, wouldn't it? And an easy one had Gabriel not made the interception. Long ball over the top, overhit, and trickles just beyond Christian Norgard and out for a goal kick. There has been a goal at the Cottage, Fulham, Nottingham Forest. Let's take you there, and Matt Drabble.
Willian, right side of the area, sits down Loddy. Willian's curling effort straight into the top corner, and on his 275th Premier League appearance, Willian has come up with a genius goal from the right-hand side of the area. He sat down Renan Loddy, he shifted it onto his left boot, and he whipped it right under the stanchion and in the top left corner.
Matt, thank you. Sounds like quite a goal. Willian utterly stunk the joint out here at Arsenal. He was absolutely terrible when he came from Chelsea. Went to Brazil, where he was so bad he effectively left. When he came to Fulham, I expected nothing. He's been brilliant. Explain that.
Yeah, I thought.
How does that happen?
You
wingers.
I had written him off.
Mercurial.
I had totally written him off because he was a shadow of himself when he was at Arsenal, and
at Corinthians was it as well? Just didn't work.
I don't know.
Death threats there, I think, because of his form at one point.
Marco Silva deserves full credit because he was taking a player who had no form, and we're talking over 2 years.
He's 34 as well, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So, he's obviously got his arm round him at Fulham, and he's getting the best out of him.
Been brilliant, really has, and it sounds like a corking goal there to put Fulham a goal up against Forest. So, Leicester Spurs, we've had another goal. I'll take you there in a moment. Arsenal on the attack here. Ødegaard did well to just take the ball around Rico Henry, who's largely defended well so far, but then Norwegian Messi's cross, as they call it, not perhaps the best, and it allowed Brentford to get it to partial safety. Another Arsenal throw, about 10-15 yards in from the dead ball line to our right-hand side. We're almost exactly halfway through the first half, and it's still Arsenal 0, Brentford 0 on Premier League Live. Your thoughts at this midway point of the first 45, Trevor?
Well, I think Brentford will be very happy with the way things are going at the moment. The defensive setup is taking care of Arsenal's attacks. Arsenal have tried to put the ball in many times. It's always been a Brentford player in the right place at the right time. And on the counter-attack, as I said before the game, Brentford are dangerous. So it's a good game to watch. No clear-cut chances really so far, but it's a good game.
3-0 Arsenal on the opening weekend of the season, as we talked about, on the banks of the Thames, just by my house in West London. A bit different so far in this one, as Ødegaard takes this corner. Slightly different pattern, the flat delivery to the edge of the box, but Martinelli couldn't quite control it. He was stretching, and in the end Brentford were allowed to clear it, but the Bees happy to just smack it downfield. Maguimo couldn't get there, Ramsdale did, and Arsenal are straight back on Thomas Frank's men once more. Being urged on by their fans, Saka, Zinchenko, Partey lets it run. Xhaka as far as Martinelli, left edge of the box. Most of Arsenal's attacks so far in the game have been down the right-hand side as Partey lets one rip. He scored a couple of awesome goals so far this season, Thomas Partey. That was not one of them.
That was with Zinchenko's effort, that one, wasn't it?
At least it only ended up in the middle tier.
Yeah,
it wasn't a top-tier job.
The middle tier. Yeah, Thomas Partey's not known for his long-range shooting, although he has knocked one or two in his career, but he never looked convincing then. And this is one of the problems that Arsenal are going to have against a defence that's so solid. Are they going to lose patience? Do they stop doing what has got them so far in this?
We saw a lot of that last season. We saw that happen regularly. Yeah. Do they have enough momentum, enough attacking diversity almost to find a way through in a game where, as you say, their natural style is being blocked and taken away from them?
Yeah, and I think this is the kind of game that you miss Gabriel Jesus.
Ivan Toney with a great ball through for Brentford to Mbeumo. It's gone loose. Oh, it's off the crossbar from Ivan Toney. Great counter from Brentford. Toney opened up his right boot. Ramsdale would not have got there. Smacked the scansion, stayed out. Brentford an inch or two away from leading.
Well, I told you they were dangerous. Really, really dangerous. And it was Ivan Toney who had the ball on the edge of the box, knocks Mbeumo in, gets the ball before it goes out of play, pulls it back to Ivan Toney. And the big centre forward should really score. He knows he should score. He's coming on to that 8 yards out, and he just gets that little bit under it. Two players on the line, Zinchenko and Ramsdale, but he should be tucking that away. He'd be disappointed with that.
That is now officially by far the best chance of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Brentford should be up, at least by one. Despite, again, Arsenal looking good on the ball, but not being able to create.
25 gone. Arsenal 0, Brentford 0. Warren B, good morning from California, driving to Nashville, Tennessee, one of my favourite places in the world. Time for some real football by Arsenal. 2-0. Warren B predicting, and a great picture there in his car on the open road in the States. Warren B, thank you very much at TalkSport Live. Keep your tweets coming in. We'll continue to read them over the course of the rest of this game. Through ball from Brentford, blocked by Thomas Partey. He comes forward, injects that little bit of pace, as we say, that fluidity from midfield, gains 5 or 6 yards. Ødegaard, first time ball. More pace again, injected into the attack on the right-hand side. Saka's deep cross, looking for Martinelli. Tries to win it in the air. Falls back to Martinelli, who shanks a cross shot. That nearly fell to Saka. Henry got there but cleared it straight to Ben White. And Arsenal come again. Saka tries to thread the eye of the needle between a combination of Jensen and Henry. Fails to do so. Aided by the ever dependable Ben Mee. Brentford win it back. And Jensen pumps it downfield. This is a slightly more cultured dink over the top to Tony, who held the ball up well against Gabriel. Plays it over his shoulder to Mbeumo, who's onside on the left edge of the penalty area. Gabriel goes to try and shackle the tricky Cameroon international, who's had a good game so far. Jensen to Norgard, the captain. Now to Henry, who stays on his feet under pressure from two Arsenal players. And Saka, good defensive work there from the England man. Won it back, all important on this near stand side. But off balance, can only clear it to halfway. Brentford coming again. Jensen's gone down holding his face. He claims he's been fouled. In the end, the decision goes the other way and Arsenal get the free kick. That was a bit messy.
It was a bit messy. Fouls going in everywhere, really, to be honest. I think it was Norgard in the end who gets penalised. I think he was taking retaliation for a tackle that happened earlier on Jensen.
Holding his nose, Jensen. I don't think it was deliberate from Xhaka. He was already falling after clashing with Partey. Then he basically fell with his nose into Granit Xhaka, who's a pretty rock-hard man. Granit, see what I did there?
Oh, I like that.
Thank you. And in the end, the free kick, probably the right decision. 3 more goals elsewhere. 2 in the Leicester Spurs game and 1 in the Southampton Wolves game. Shannon's Palace is still goalless against Brighton. Fulham still lead Forest 1-0 thanks to a Willian Worldy. Still 0-0 here as the ball's played over the top by Arsenal looking for Martinelli. And in the end, Christopher Ajer, the Norwegian, on his return to the team to make it a back 3 today, did calmly, resolutely, sets the platform for Brentford to win the ball back and attack through Mbeumo. Long flat ball, looking for Tony, who claims he was shoved in the back by Ben White. Certainly wasn't much in that one, and there was an offside anyway. Right, let's take you to the first of the 2 goals that have gone in at Leicester. Spurs were leading 1-0, remember.
Bauer delivers it right-footed into the near post, flicked on and headed away off the line by Bentancur. Back it comes, right foot in, what a finish! Nampalys Mendy with a right boot rasper, headed away off the line from Tottenham, back out towards the near corner of the box, and Mendy put everything behind it.
Okay, so 1-1, Tim Long, thank you. Here, Arsenal on the attack briefly through Ødegaard. Took too long to get his shot away. Brentford, though, then gave the ball away. And Nketiah nearly got through. David Raya with a very nice little shimmy, a dummy to take it around the Arsenal player and get the ball to safety. Brentford now coming forward on the right-hand side. Roslev to Janelt. Ball flicked over the top. That was a neat little cross from Christian Norgard. And Ben White had to be very, very alert, Trevor, because he had a man right on his shoulder, 6 yards out. Good work there from White.
Yeah, he's having to defend well because Brentford are a threat. There's no question about it. Good ball coming in from the right. And Ivan Toney was there waiting. Didn't quite get there because Ben White was in front of him. But really impressed by Brentford in the first half an hour.
We've played almost exactly 30 minutes, as the former Everton, Burnley, Marseille man, Trevor Stevens says. Delay taking the corner. We'll be taken in a second, and as soon as the ball goes dead again, we'll take you to the other goals elsewhere. There may well have been a red card in one of those games as well. So goals, red cards, it's all happening. It's a very exciting match week 23 so far in the Premier League. It's a pleasure to bring it to you around the world as ever. Mbeumo, out-swinging delivery. Oh my goodness, that could so easily have been a goal for Ben Mee. Ghosted in. Arsenal's defence statuesque once more. Shank cross from Mbeumo is then taken by Ramsdale. But Mee, unmarked, powerful header. It was goal-bound. Don't think Ramsdale would have got there, and it hit a body inadvertently and stayed out.
Yeah, it's worrying for Arsenal. You know, there's been incidents today where they've not defended so well and from set pieces, and there was another one, Ben Mee, this time.
Last 2 Premier League goals that Arsenal have conceded have been from corners. And before that, only one of their last 15 before that have been from corners. It's just a new problem that's growing.
Well, I certainly noticed against Everton last week, Tarkowski scores from a corner, and Everton could have had 2 or 3 from them. But that was a clear header for Pinnock.
My God, it hit his own player. It ended up hitting Christopher Ajer. So the header from Ben Mee, Pinnock, as you say, was up there. Mee ghosted in behind him. Goal bound. No Arsenal player would have got there. And it hit Ayer. And Ayer effectively made a brilliant block, but unfortunately from his point of view at the wrong end.
Yeah, and do you know what? Brentford are knocking in the same corner every time. It's an out-swinging corner into the same area. So
Arsenal, mid-range, isn't it, kind of?
And Arsenal are not reading that. They're not dealing with it. Although, how many corner kicks have they had? Maybe 4 or 5 in this first half. They've all gone to the same area, and 3 times Brentford heads have got on the ball first.
Martinelli has inadvertently clashed with Rico Henry. Nothing deliberate, but he's receiving a bit of treatment to his kind of jaw area. In the meanwhile, let's take you back then to Leicester Spurs, which was 1-1, Tim Long.
They're in again here, far side for the leads. Iheanacho to Maddison to turn it on its head.
Wow, Iheanacho and Maddison combined to put Leicester 2-1 up in that one. Still Fulham 1, Nottingham Forest 0, but there's been a goal in the Southampton Wolves game as well. Let's take it to Ben Jacobs at St Mary's.
James Ward-Prowse then will deliver the free kick. It's high and looping towards the back post. It bounces on the ground. Half-hearted chance for appeal, and then a shot comes in. And it is Carlos Alcaraz who fires one in with his left foot off the post and into the far right-hand corner.
Ben, thank you very much indeed. There's been a red card since as well. Mario Lemina has been yellow and then red carded. Lemina used to play for Southampton, didn't he? I'm right in saying?
Yeah, he did indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. So against his old team, having left the Premier League and come back with Wolves, yellow and red card in quick succession for Mario Lemina. Julian Lopetegui's men a goal down and a man down. How huge could that be for Southampton? Here you've missed nothing. Martinelli treatment, Eddie Nketiah then offside. Long way to go, but Southampton, they couldn't have a better platform to try and get closer to avoiding the drop than this, could they?
Yeah, you can't keep Southampton out the news. And Nathan Jones has been all over it this week, hasn't he, with his interviews, and everybody's talking about Southampton. But this is a good platform for them to try and get the points in the bag.
Do you mean in terms of whether or not he might actually get the boot? Or
yeah, and there's been a lot of interest in the way that he's conducted himself in these interviews. He's obviously trying to, keep the thing together there at Southampton, and there's nothing better than getting yourself ahead in a Premier League game, so that'll give them a lot of confidence.
Very, very interesting. There's been a goal in the Palace-Brighton game, but it's then been chalked off. So Brighton were temporarily a goal down in that one on my monitor. We 1-0 Palace for a moment. It's now back to 0-0. So Palace 0, Brighton 0, Leicester 2, Tottenham 1, Fulham 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Southampton 1, 10-man Wolves 0. Earlier 1-1 between West Ham and Chelsea amid some huge VAR controversy at both ends. Bournemouth Newcastle to come in the Eddie Howe derby at 5:30 with Toby Gillis alongside Dave Kitson. Here 34 gone, still goalless. The only one Arsenal Brentford of the game so far today. Partey trying to get a shot away, but just miscontrolled the touch before the shot. That enabled Brentford to once more clear their lines, but only as far as halfway. It's been a pretty quiet game so far for the brilliant William Saliba. Saliba there puts the ball up against Matthias Jensen and tries to unleash Arsenal forward once more. It's all a bit pedestrian at the moment, though, as Alexander Zinchenko trots forward. Injection of pace and quality. It's just a little lacking. Mikel Arteta talked pre-match about needing to keep energy levels high. Not just about dealing with the pressure and the stress of leading the league. It's about staying energetic. Arsenal in recent minutes have not shown much of that. Ben White with a better cross to try and prove me wrong. Headed clear by Pinnock, but only as far as Zinchenko. He tries to guide one through as far as Nketiah, who couldn't quite get there. At the other end, Ivan Toney does well, stands his ground well with 3 Arsenal defenders around him. Saliba brings him down, and Brentford win a free kick bang on halfway. Will there be a yellow card or not for Saliba? Brentford's players are asking for one for tripping it.
Yeah, you can sense in this game now there's an air of frustration, not only within the fans here at the stadium, but the players themselves. This low block that Brentford have is really causing Arsenal problems. When they're getting the ball into the box, Pinnock, particularly central defensively, is being brilliant. He's there for everything. He's clearing. Yep. He's volleying out, he's heading out, and Arsenal just haven't been able to unlock that as yet.
It's an intriguing match. It's an elaborate kind of game of chess. 35 gone, Arsenal 0, Brentford 0. Britain's only win in 8 in all competitions on Arsenal soil came in April 1938, so pre-World War II, the one time that Brentford won at the old Highbury. That's, of course, just about half a mile away from here. Otherwise, it's drawn 3, lost 4 on Arsenal soil as Brentford come forward. Nearly an opportunity there for Norgard on the right edge of the box, but just showed a little too much of it to Granit Xhaka. Martinelli tries to dribble the ball out of defence and loses it. That's the groans and oohs and ahs from the Arsenal fans. Then Mee comes forward for Brentford. Tony again was acting as provider on the right-hand side. Ball crossed in by Norgard to Jensen. Over the bar. It's the third skied shot of the match so far. 2 from Arsenal. 1 in the top tier, 1 in the middle tier. At least this one from Jensen was at the back of the lower tier. We're getting closer, slowly.
Yeah, you've got to say that the finishing hasn't been of a high calibre today, has it? But the chances are being created. Brentford again, they just look a threat.
We've had Rose ZZ, and then Rose Ed. Hopefully we'll get one stuck into the back corner. Arsenal and Brentford 5 attempts on goal each in the game so far. 2 on target from Arsenal. 1 yet from Brentford, but that doesn't really tell the story of the balance of this game for me, does it?
No. The game is very clear, and I think all the questions to be answered are at Mikel Arteta, because Brentford are comfortable with the way this game is going. Arsenal have got the majority of the ball, but Brentford look far more dangerous than Arsenal do.
Arsenal playing out from the back. Ramsdale to Partey to Saliba. Ødegaard has got 2 men on him. Didn't have much time to play his pass, but it was a really clever pass and a really neat 1-2 with Partey to Zinchenko, who tries again to slide one through to Martinelli. There was real purpose and width to that counter for a moment for the Gunners, but Zinchenko could not find Martinelli. And in the end, Christopher Ajer is back, makes the block, the ball off Zinchenko and away. Zinchenko started the game well, but he's had a frustrating period, hasn't he?
Kicking himself for that sloppy pass. Because that moment when Arsenal win the ball back, when Brentford are actually pushing towards the Arsenal penalty area, if Arsenal break well, and they did break well there, they had to keep the ball moving quickly on that counter-attack. But just a poor pass from Zinchenko.
Throw for Brentford just inside their own half. Vitaly Janelt and Mads Roslev combined this time. Ball from Jensen to Tony. What a save from Ramsdale. Brilliant long-range effort from Ivan Toney. It was powerful. It was dipping. Ramsdale was off his line. And the big man arched his neck backwards, stuck out a glove and made the save.
Yeah, I think Ivan Toney, he actually saw that Ramsdale was off his line there. Just had a very quick glance.
Like a power lob.
Yeah, it was like a power lob, wasn't it? It was a very intelligent play from him, and Ramsdale was a little bit fortunate.
Just about tall enough and big enough and supple enough to arch his back and make the save. Good keeping in the end. And a great effort from Ivan Toney as he looks for that 15th of the season. Don't forget, Toney has hit the bar in this game already. And Mbeumo has had a goal ruled out, and there wasn't really a foul by him on Gabriel. Arsenal have had their chances, but they've huffed and puffed way too much from their lofty expectations as league leaders as we tick toward the final 5 minutes of this first half. Zinchenko, field to Partey. Again, it's a bit sedentary. Need a moment of class and genius from an Arsenal point of view. Saka to White. Deep cross, good cross, looking for Xhaka. Xhaka was all over his man, Christopher Ajer. And Ajer had to show not just good defensive awareness, but real strength there. He had Xhaka right behind him.
Yeah. For one of the first times in the game, Arsenal get a little bit of an overload in the wide position. Saka plays Ben White in. He's on the overlap, chips it up to the back post, and as you say, Ajer does really, really well. He had to be strong with Xhaka on his back.
Short corner from the Gunners. Zinchenko, Ødegaard, now to Martinelli. Bit of space maybe to run at his man. Goes in field instead. White's in a central position. Of course, was a centre-half by trade before switching to right-back at the start of the season after Tomiyasu's injury. Last season, actually, it was first dabbled with, but has now become the norm over the course of this campaign. Throw to Arsenal, taken quickly by Xhaka. Now to Saliba, but again, the options forward are not great. Brentford are really flooding that final third of the field, and Arsenal are finding it very, very hard, as Trevor nods his head to my right, to try and find a way through. There's a wall of light and dark blue, which is the Brentford away kit, as we mentioned today. Can the red and white of the Gunners find a way through with about 4 and a bit to go plus time added on here on Premier League Live at the end of the first half? Martinelli, good ball, cushioned down by White with his head, trying to find Ødegaard. Again, Jensen, who's been all action at both ends. A proper box-to-box job today from Matthias Jensen. Important interception.
Yeah, everybody's doing their job of sticking with the runners, and very, very occasionally in this first half of Arsenal being able to really play with their heads up and try and open up Brentford. It's been a great team effort from the visitors.
So still Fulham 1, Forest 0, Southampton 1, 10-man Wolves 0, Leicester 2, Spurs 1 after Tottenham had led. Still Palace 0, Brighton 0 after Palace had a goal chalked off. Earlier, 1-1 West Ham Chelsea. Each team with at least one more opportunity ruled out by VAR and a missed penalty potentially at the death. And to come, Newcastle's trip to Bournemouth with Toby Gillis and Dave Kitson. And then Leeds Man United, Man City Villa, Liverpool Everton for the next 2 days to finish the match week here on Premier League Live. Arsenal free kick taken by Ødegaard, swung in. Tony again back out aiding his defenders with a powerful header clear. Got 3 at the back plus Tony defending those set pieces. Not easy. Meant there was not really enough downfield though for Brentford because everybody was committed in the box, so that enabled Arsenal to win the ball back again. Gabriel wanted to surge forward, but his options were very much limited, so he passes laterally to Zinchenko. Movement from Ødegaard. That was like a little dummy run because Saka picks the ball up instead. Now to Martin Ødegaard, the Arsenal captain. White in space, deep cross, nice cross, flicked on Martinelli! Just over the bar. We are getting closer. 4th long-range effort of the game, and that one had Raya worried and was about probably yard and a half over the Brentford bar.
Yeah, again on this right-hand side, an overload is created, and Arsenal have done that a couple of times. And, you know, the secret to it, the actual secret to it is that they've switched the play early a couple of times in the last couple of minutes. Good connection from Martinelli on the volley, but it was only, 1 or 2 feet above Raya's goal.
Now, Brent Parker is a massive Arsenal fan in the cafe in Drummond, Montana, where it's a great day, serving up fried chicken and waffles as my Premier League Live game day is off to a great start. The best commentary filling the cafe, cheering my Gunners on. Always nervous against Brentford, but I still remain confident that my Arsenal will get the job done and we'll get all 3 points. COYG. Brent, good work and a great picture as well of that fried chicken and waffles. Would that do it for you, Trevor?
That would definitely do it. Any time of day I would have that, to be honest.
And is that a bit of okra? What's that on the top? There's a little bit of floury action on top of the fried chicken. Looks really nice, Brent. Send some over. The chicken soup you sent over when I was ill last week was very, very thoughtful for the Chelsea game. We're here at Arsenal as the ball goes down the left-hand side as Martinelli tries to play it in field to Nketiah. But once more, Brentford's defence stands firm. But again, when they do get the ball downfield, they don't really have much option, do they, often? And it's often Arsenal winning it back like now and coming forward once more.
Yeah, it is, but you would expect that. You expect Arsenal still to be in possession of the ball for the majority of time. But Brentford, when they get that opportunity to break, they're really, really decisive.
Now, this is a nice one-touch passing move from Arsenal. Saka, Nketiah, Saka, Ødegaard, weaving his way through, back to Nketiah. Dinks in the cross, but it's too close to David Raya. It was nice for a moment, but maybe just kind of all mouth and no trousers. Were Arsenal just a little bit reticent there to do something properly hurtful and meaningful?
Yeah, just a bit over intricate, I would say, really. Yes. And
that's a better way of putting it.
Yeah, it's not.
It was all mouth and no trousers, but you're right.
It looked great, but they didn't get anywhere with it, and eventually the ball's chipped up to David Raya in goal. So I think Arteta needs to use this half-time break to really get in around his team to be a bit more aggressive in getting the ball forward faster, because Brentford are getting set, and when they're set, they're very difficult to break down.
Eddie Nketiah has just caught Ben Mee, and I think he had a cheeky little glance at me before he kind of jumped into his side. Mee was in the air heading the ball. It's a free kick. I just thought, looking at the replay, Nketiah had a little glance there and thought, I might just ease into you.
Oh, well, forwards are allowed to do that, a little bit of a nudge here and a nudge there. It's to be expected.
We're having a look on the big screen at the Arsenal bench. Fabio Vieira, of course, one of the new signings in the January transfer window. Leandro Trossard, who's looked pretty good since he's come on with a couple of cameos. There's some of the options for the Gunners if they need a goal later in this game. They need one at the moment. 0-0, free kick to Brentford from deep in their own half. David Raya takes it as the kind of archetypal sweeper keeper. Martinelli won it in the far corner up against Roslev, but heads it out for a Brentford throw. Keith, all sun and fun today in Miami Beach. Both days are perfect here. Hopefully Arsenal will be perfect for me as I listen to. A great picture on his boat with some nice puffy white clouds and the blue skies of Miami as Keith listens to us. That is not bad at all. love being here at the Emirates, but Miami would also do. Here is Nketiah, is Brentford getting each other's way? Can Arsenal counter right at the end of the half? Nketiah's being forced slightly down a blind channel down the left-hand side. All he could do in the end was win a throw, which he does off Vitaly Janelt. Not many options in field there, but Nketiah did well to at least win it.
Well, he could have released it far earlier to Martinelli. Martinelli throws his hands up. So why did you not slip me in? Because there was space in front of Martinelli to break into.
There was us saying that Nketiah's link-up play had been promising. Not so great there. White's cross flicked on by Saka. Nketiah was just running around the back of Bukayo Saka. Martinelli was up there as well. Not a bad delivery, but indecisive, to put it mildly, there from the three Arsenal forward players.
Well, yeah, it just feels like that kind of afternoon for Arsenal. Good but not good enough. So things have got to change. Maybe Trossard coming on at half time. I'm looking at Xhaka's not contributed much in this first half. Maybe just need a little bit of freshness.
Interesting to see what they do. They are lacking that real purpose and resolution when it comes to shots at goal. No question, Arsenal today. Can that change? Good effort from Saka, almost on cue. Curling effort. Ryan might have got there. And Ben Mee made the block just on the edge of his own penalty area. Saka on his stronger left foot, trying to bend one in. And that is the last opportunity of the first half. Arsenal can't find a way toward goal. And the half-time whistle blows. Brentford with the best chances of the game so far. Ivan Toney rattling the bar with a side-footed effort from about 15 yards out. Brian Mbeumo convinced he'd scored. Goal disallowed for a shove on Gabriel that looked soft at best. Both teams have created a fair few other half chances. A couple of decent saves as well, including Aaron Ramsdale to deny Ivan Toney with that power lob as well. Stats are fairly even, but Brentford have probably had the best of the opportunities in this game so far. And the plot thickens very much in the Premier League title race. Arsenal, having lost their last game, are being held in this one at the break in the London derby. It's Arsenal 0, Brentford 0 on Premier League Live. Everton and England winger Trevor Steven. This is Premier League Live. Players coming out for the second half. Just checking if there's been any changes at the break. I can't see any. We did wonder if Mikel Arteta might dabble and think about bringing somebody like Leandro Trossard on for the second half to mix it up. A change like that won't be happening for a little while. Massive second half ahead for Arsenal. Of course, Man City don't play until tomorrow when they face Aston Villa at home. A chance to make a real statement and go 8 clear for a bit ahead of the two meeting on Wednesday. Even though they've had 70% possession in the first half, Mikel Arteta's men, Brentford with all the best chances of the game so far. The London derby is 0-0. We're underway for the second half here on Premier League Live. Arsenal now kicking from left to right in the second half from our vantage point. Brentford the other way. They're in light and dark blue, their change kit. Arsenal in their traditional red and white. Arsenal with Ramsdale in goal, White, Gabriel, Saliba and Zinchenko, Xhaka, Partey and captain Ødegaard, Martinelli, Nketiah and Saka up front. Brentford, Raya in goal, Aya, Pinnock, Mee a back three, Henry and Rossleff the wing backs, Janelt, Norgard and Jensen supporting Mbeumo, Tony up front. Those your lineups for the second half. Zinchenko, a frustrating second half of the first 45, turning nicely there. Xhaka to Partey. Referee Peter Banks got in the way for a moment. And that helped Brentford briefly win the ball back. Ivan Toney's been upended by Martin Ødegaard. Ødegaard convinced it was a fair challenge, but I think, Trevor, even if he got the ball, he got a bit of the man as well.
That's exactly that. He loses the ball initially because he was under pressure in the central midfield area, but he does get his foot to the ball, but he also gets his foot onto the back of Ivan Toney's right leg. So referee makes the decision and awards the free kick to Brentford.
Brentford, of course, with their landmark win over a COVID-hit Arsenal to start the season before this. That was an absolute tonking. And that kind of set the tone for a frustrating Arsenal season. Exactly the opposite this time around, setting the tone for the league leaders. But this return fixture at home, just the kind of game they need to win. Great work there from Toney to keep the ball in play. Arsenal almost giving up on what appeared to be a lost cause. Toney didn't. Played it infield as far as Christian Norgard, but Norgard's cross as the skipper probably should have been a little bit better. It was easily intercepted. It enables Arsenal to surge forward for the first time early in this second half. 0-0, 47 gone. Here's Saka running at Jensen to White, puts in the cross, well blocked by Rico Henry. Out for an Arsenal throw just by the far left corner flag.
Yeah, Ben White's playing at right back for Arsenal. He's done that quite a few times this season.
Pretty much every game.
Yeah, and he's not quite got the quality for the crossing when he gets into the position that he's found himself in several times today.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that assessment. Very good in terms of in the air and good defensive awareness. But Tomiyasu, when he's fit and firing, does offer a better fullback dynamic. Ball goes loose. Saka! What a save from Raya. That was more like it from Arsenal. In the blink of an eye, Zinchenko threaded it through. Saka was waiting. It was a great offload from Granit Xhaka. Saka took 3 players out of the game, let rip. And Raya, from an acute angle, unsighted, made a good save behind for a corner.
Yeah, what Saka's done there, he's drifted into a position you wouldn't normally find him in, and caught Brentford by surprise somewhat as Xhaka played the ball through. I'd say David Raya did well there at his near post because Saka got a lot of power behind that shot.
They certainly did. Short back left and really connected. Arsenal tried a short corner and it was ropey, I'm afraid, from a gunner's point of view. Nketiah couldn't get there. Brentford's defence easily did. They've got the ball clear. Nordgaard to his fellow Scandinavian Jensen. Of course, a very strong Scandinavian, particularly Danish backbone to this team under Thomas Frank, as we know. Mbeumo can't handle it. Gabriel wins it. And Arsenal come forward again. Partey, head up. Nobody's tracking Thomas Partey. He's allowed to almost have the freedom of the whole half of the pitch, right up to the edge of the penalty area. Now Martinelli. Zinchenko tries a couple of tricks. Back to Gabriel Martinelli, but some of that pace and momentum again has gone out of the Arsenal attack. They need to inject something. Zinchenko slowly going backwards, is forced to go laterally. William Saliba's come up as an additional option. He plays a 1-2 with White, but the promise of the break has now been lost for Arsenal. They work the ball back to the edge of the area. Saka, Ødegaard runs at Jensen, puts in the cross. Ben Mee makes the block. Behind for another Arsenal corner. Not necessarily the most probing passage of play, but they've got another corner kick.
Yeah, very similar to what we saw in the early stages of the first half. Arsenal dominating the ball around the edge of the box, but going from side to side and not being penetrating. But they've got a chance here. Good delivery in from the right-hand side from the corner kick.
Arsenal's 5th corner of the game to Brentford's 3 as we approach 50 minutes on Premier League Live. Still, the Premier League leaders have not found a way through. Brentford aim to go 10 unbeaten in the league. Remarkable. Corner from the far side. Saka's going to bend it in. Poor ball. Norgard with an easy header clear. Tries to find Mbeumo. Ødegaard tried to hook the ball back. It bounced back off the chest of Mbeumo. He burst forward, tried to find Ivan Toney. Zinchenko, to his credit, saw the danger, scurried back and made the block. Xhaka with a good through ball at the other end. It's end-to-end. Xhaka to Eddie Nketiah, twisting, turning, thinks about the shot, puts in the cross instead. Doesn't quite sit for Ødegaard. First time, it sits second time. Great save from Raya again. This is more like it from Arsenal. Again, the Spaniard saw it late and makes the save low to his right to deny the home side.
Yeah, game just opening up somewhat there. Brentford's getting forward, but the ball's won back by Arsenal. They break quickly, and Nketiah gets the ball left-hand side. His dink to the far post finds Ødegaard, who with his weaker foot, his right foot, can only drill it straight at the keeper.
Better from Arsenal. That's 2 good opportunities and 2 decent saves. At the other end, I think Brentford have got the throw. Arsenal wanted it. Arsenal fans in the far corner are frustrated as we tick toward 51 minutes. Elsewhere, still Leicester 3, Spurs 1, Palace 0, Brighton 0, Fulham 1, Forest 0, Southampton 1, 10-man Wolves 0. And it is a throw to Brentford, pretty much level with the edge of the penalty area on the far side. Options a little limited, and I think Jensen will probably take an hour to line it up again, but we might see one of his long trademark throws. Finally, we get it. Looping, looking for Ayer. Ball goes loose. Arsenal struggle initially to get it clear. They're still struggling to get it clear. Goodness me, Zinchenko in the end stuck out his left boot to stop Mbeumo. Otherwise, Brentford, with time almost standing still, it felt, could have finally got a shot toward target. Deflected cross, this time from Roslev. Falls back to Mbeumo, right edge of the penalty area. Martinelli shackles him well. Good defensive work from Gabriel Martinelli. Ball pumped forward looking for Nketiah. Raya's clearance off Nketiah. Could have gone anywhere. In the end, it ricocheted out of play for a throw. Raya committed, decided to belt it downfield and played it straight off Arsenal's centre forward.
Yeah, he was under pressure from Nketiah. He was closing down the ground between him and the goalkeeper. It was a hurried effort, really, from Raya in the end. Comes off Nketiah, but goes out for a throw-in.
Certainly upping the ante in this second half on Premier League Live so far. You can just feel not just the tension level rising, but maybe the commitment level and that energy, that crucial word. The energy from Arsenal that Arteta spoke about pre-match. Haven't seen enough of it in the Man City Cup and the Everton League losses. No goals in either. Time to right the ship. That said, Thomas Partey shows too much of the ball to Christian Norgard. Brentford skipper is seeing a lot of the ball in the second half after a quietish first 45. He set the platform here for Ivan Toney. Running at Gabriel. Gabriel pulling away at him. Toney saying to the referee's assistant, that should have been a free kick because I was being tugged. Nothing given. Brentford back to halfway. Free kick for you, or was that Gabriel just being forceful?
I think it was just using his body strength there. I think Ivan Toney was complaining for no good reason.
Long ball over the top. Maybe a little bit of frustration there for Toney. Of course, hit the woodwork, as we know, in the first half. As Arsenal bid to win an 8th straight Premier League London derby. That would equal their own and Chelsea's Premier League record of 8 London derby wins in a single season. They scored 16 and conceded just 3 in their last 7 Premier League London derbies. A very, very good record of late. Hasn't always been the case. Saka's done well there. He's won the ball off Henry. Goes in field to Ødegaard. Dinks one in, but it's overhit. Martinelli or Xhaka, neither could get there. Saka did brilliantly, and I think Ødegaard probably had too many options and chose the wrong one.
Yeah, he's just trying to clip the ball in. It was really good work from Saka, winning the ball back, releasing Ødegaard, but the cross, it wasn't the best, just a little bit too much on it. Mikel Arteta, just watching him there, he's getting a little bit anxious, starting to get vocal, but nobody can get like on that manager's area down there by the side of the pitch.
Raya's goal kick, after the effort, trickled out of play from Ødegaard. Partey couldn't quite get there. Tony did. It's flicked on from Jensen as far as Mbeumo on the left edge of the box. He plays a 1-2 with Rico Henry. Arsenal, decent shape there and good work without the ball. Again, force Brentford back just to the edge of the D. Pinnock to Ayer. Now to Mats Roslev. He's in my fantasy team. Brilliant cheap signing. Plays more often than not of late. Norgard did well. Two Arsenal players didn't commit to the challenge, and Christian Norgard almost bent the ball back into Roslev, who continued his run. Ball given away by the Gunners again. Another cross from Brentford from the near stand side. Looking for Rico Henry. He couldn't quite get there. This one trickles out for an Arsenal throw, but having looked good for 6 or 7 minutes, Trevor, Arsenal now looking a little bit shaky again.
Yeah, and you can feel it in the crowd. The crowd's starting to get that little bit agitated by this performance. I said Arsenal look good on the ball, but actually creating openings has been so difficult for them in this game.
That is not an ideal blueprint moving forward, particularly with City to come here in 3 or 4 nights' time. Brentford, though, are a very tough team to beat and a very tough team to score against. They're vying to keep 4 consecutive top-flight clean sheets for the first time in their history. Ball goes loose. Here come Brentford. Great chance. Goodness me. Janelt couldn't get his shot away. Jensen couldn't get his shot away. Tony! Off the scansion and out. Just missed the goal. Hit the advertising hoarding. Bounced back toward the back of the goal. Ivan Toney, probably about 6 inches wide of Ramsdale's left-hand post. That was so close again to the opener.
Yeah, and these Brentford players are so on the front foot, anticipating, getting to the ball first. Good layoff there from Jensen. Back to Ivan Toney. Side foots the ball. And when you do that, you really feel as if you've got a chance of finding a corner. But again, he's just not got it right. 6 or 8 inches wide of the post.
I think Ramsdale would have got there had it been on target. And Arsenal have given it away again. And here come Brentford and Mbeumo. Lovely through ball. Janelt with the cross shot. Goodness me. Roslev then picked it up from him. And again, Brentford with a golden opportunity. Couldn't take it. Arsenal nicked it. Ramsdale read it well. Quickly from the cross shot being smothered, Ramsdale bowls the ball out and tries to get Arsenal back onto the offensive at the other end. It's end-to-end stuff again here at the Emirates on Premier League Live. 56 gone 0-0. Zinchenko from distance thought about a shot. Last one was a disaster, and he thinks better of it. Goes to Eddie Nketiah. Now to Xhaka, back to the same player, Zinchenko. Heavy touch from Martinelli, but keeps hold of the ball. Well done. Partey, edge of the D, back to Zinchenko. Bends one in. Not far away, actually, from the angle of post and bar of David Raya. But in the end, Raya's calm and chilled enough to watch it just saunter over and out for a goal kick.
I'm not quite sure that Zinchenko knew what he was doing there, because it was neither a cross nor an attempted goal for me.
No, I think it was an attempted cross, wasn't it? And he was lucky that it was so close to a goal that it looked passable.
That probably sums it up. And
you called it, Trevor. We're going to see our first change coming on. Will be Leandro Trossard. As we know, the Belgian, outstanding at Brighton. Hat-trick, don't forget, against Liverpool earlier in the season. Potter left, De Zerbi came in, they fell out, he got frozen out. And in the January transfer window, Trossard, who's had a pretty decent World Cup, if he can, from Belgian colours, given how disappointing it was broadly, he's going to be coming on. I think he was a really good signing.
Yeah, I think he fits the bill for an Arsenal player. For me, he's got lots of pace, lots of technical ability, and he's got an eye for goal, for
Doesn't
sure.
break the wage structure either. Clever in that sense.
Yeah, I think it was a really good one, and they pushed that through. I think the player might have thrown his toys out the pram just to make that move happen.
I think he turned up at the training ground pretty much, didn't he, with a key, just saying, let me in, I want to join.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think he's been forced into this as we come up to the hour mark. He needs to change it. He gave them that 15 minutes after half-time to see if the game was going to change, but it really hasn't. Brentford are still doing exactly what Brentford did in the first half, which has been very compact defensively and look a threat on the break.
It's a change he called. 59 gone. Trossard's going to come on. We'll see for who in just a second. Arsenal 0, Brentford 0. Ødegaard beats his man nicely, which was Ben Mee, who was upfield, but there's enough Brentford players hurrying back, including Mads Roslev, to maybe stem the tide. 1-2 between Xhaka and Zinchenko. That was nice. Here's Granit Xhaka. Let's rip. That was blocked by Christopher Ayer. The Norwegian with an important block on the edge of the box because we know that Xhaka can hit them. Boy, can he. 4 goals this season. Partey picks up a loose ball, tries to find Nketiah. Can't quite feed the young striker. And again, it's Aya who sticks out a boot and makes an interception. This time midway inside the penalty area as Arsenal ask yet more questions. And this time, Trevor, Brentford are more than happy to smack the ball right downfield to Ramsdale and have a proper breather.
Yeah, Arsenal just trying to turn the pace of the game up. It's not easy, but that's what they must do, just to try and create some situations where Brentford are not set defensively.
Exactly, because at the moment it's all a bit too static and a bit too predictable and a bit too congested, isn't it? I think congested
that's it. We've
is the word.
I don't think we've seen a diagonal ball, long ball from Arsenal yet, where you can try and use the width of the field. It's all been across the way. Eventually we'll come out to a Martinelli or a Saka in the wide positions. But Brentford are really, really compact and set up by the time someone gets a head up to see what's on.
Better from Arsenal here, though. White to Ødegaard. White's on the overlap, used as the decoy. Ødegaard dinks it in, looking for Nketiah. Headed clear by Ethan Pinnock, who, as Trevor has said, has been excellent in this game so far.
It's like a magnet to his head, this ball, this afternoon. It's there every time.
Xhaka to Gabriel. That was a diagonal ball. Initially slightly miscontrolled by Ben White, but he had time second time around to win the ball. Now to Bukayo Saka, who lets rip. Powerful effort, blocked by Jensen, only as far as Zinchenko, who flicks it nonchalantly looking for Xhaka, who can't prevent the goal kick. And all Xhaka can do, off balance, under pressure, is play the ball out for a Brentford throw to the near left corner flag. Coming off will be Gabriel Martinelli, who has been quiet, I've got to say, in the second half. Martinelli is off. On will come Leandro Trossard. Jace Fletch listening to the comms with my 2 lovely dogs as we go for a walk in Los Angeles, California. Lovely picture of his dogs there. Jace, thank you.
Lovely.
COYG, come on you Gunners. Randall Smith, greetings from a sunny Missouri, looking for a big bounce back from my Gunners in the second half at the Emirates. Taking a break before I head home in St Charles after a month out on the road. Goodness me, a month in his huge red truck, funnily enough, for Randall, who's proudly wearing his Arsenal cap as he trucks on those open roads, goes home and listens to our commentary. Good to hear from you. And Kofi Tawai Kwansar, just a word on Leicester, guys. They really are coming back now. Kudos to them. Hopefully they can hold on. Well, Kofi, they still lead 3-1 against Spurs, having been down. Still Southampton 1, 10-man Wolves 0. Still Fulham 1, Forest 0. And still goalless Palace Brighton after it was 1-1 earlier between West Ham and Chelsea. And here, Arsenal come forward. Still 0-0, Zinchenko. First touch for Leandro Trossard. Beats his man, comes in field, plays a 1-2 with Partey. Trossard full of tricks and energy, wearing 19. Was, of course, Nicola Pepe's old number. Old record signing who was loaned away to Nice. Zinchenko. 1-2 with Partey, left edge of the area. Trossard wants the ball again and gets it, running against Mads Roslev, who's done a decent job largely. Back in the team ahead of Hickey at right wing back. Normally if it's a flat right back, Hickey when fit gets the nod. And in this kind of situation, Roslev is your man. He's helped out by Vitaly Janelt, but Janelt, the German, is taken off the ball as far as Nketiah, who twists, has a shot. And we're back to a disappointing effort from Arsenal. Eddie Nketiah, 3 yards out from the box, had a go. But again, it was well over the crossbar.
Yeah, again, typical Arsenal, playing the ball in and around the penalty area, and then Nketiah eventually runs out of patience and forces the shot. He was coming away from goal. It would have to be absolutely a worldie to score from there. And again, it's another one that hits the second tier.
I think there has now been a goal in the Palace-Brighton game. As we heard, there was one chalked off in the first half by VAR. We'll get full details of that in a moment for you. Here, 63 gone, 0-0. Brentford on the attack again through Brian Mbeumo, but Mbeumo's ball was a poor one. And as solidly as Mads Roslev has played, he'd have to have grown a new leg that was about 10 feet long to get to that one.
Yeah, but Thomas Frank's out there and he's applauding Mbeumo because he's done really, really well. Okay, the final pass was just overhit, but he hangs on to the ball, he turns and he twists, and he has been causing Arsenal real problems in that last third.
Ødegaard, is there a foul by Jensen? If so, players allowed to go on. Here's Saka, twisting, weaving, turning, beats 3 men. Mee makes the partial block. Ball is then whipped in by White, looking for Xhaka, who rose and tried to get a header toward goal. That was blocked. Arsenal come again. Zinchenko's ball, though, was scuffed. It didn't find its way to Ødegaard. Brentford knock it downfield, only as far as Aaron Ramsdale. Arsenal back to asking some questions, even if that quality in that final third is still frustratingly lacking from the home fans' point of view. Odegaard has gone really deep now, alongside Partey. Xhaka is the man who's pressed forward as the third member of that midfield triumvirate. Gabriel coming forward, wearing 6 from the back to the near stand side, and Trossard again, edge of the box, runs at 2 men. He's got Roslev and Jan out there. They do a good collective job.
Every time the ball is wide.
Gabriel from distance, not a bad strike, but straight down the throat of Raya.
Yeah, every time the ball goes wide, there's 2 Brentford players that are shutting down either Saka or Trossard, as it is now, Martinelli earlier in the game. And they do it every time, absolutely every time. It's a well-organised defensive machine he's got here, Thomas Frank.
Saliba up against Tony, did well, headed it downfield. Xhaka, was he fouled? Pretty sure he was. Yeah, free kick to Arsenal. Xhaka just stooped to try and head the ball almost at chest level. I think it was Jensen who just caught him, and the referee was very well placed. He was about 3 feet away, not less.
Yeah, he was looking for the foul there, Xhaka, and he could have got up on his feet and picked that ball up, but he didn't.
Arsenal take it relatively quickly. White downfield, again the home fans trying to get behind their players and try and suck that ball into the net like they did against Man U late on through Nketiah. Saka's ball to Trossard, and Leandro Trossard scores his first Arsenal goal, and what a time he celebrates in the corner, mobbed by his teammates. And this is potentially what champions are made of. They've struggled today, they've laboured, but Mikel Arteta's men have found a way. 66 gone, Arsenal 1, Brentford 0.
Well, they've had to be patient, haven't they? And eventually they get some space on the right-hand side, and it's Saka who gives the assist. A fantastic ball across the 6-yard box. And Trossard, he kept his calm there because it was coming at quite a pace. It was bobbling, it was bouncing in front of him. Side foots it, left-footed into the back of the net, literally from 2 or 3 metres out.
Great work from Arsenal in the end. It has been proper frustrating, edge-of-your-seat stuff. Through ball, Odegaard, Saka beat his man. Lovely cross, as Trevor says.
It was a great ball, wasn't it?
There was Trossard. Really calm, clever finish. Didn't try to do too much, did he? Just poked it home first time. Really, really good. Roslev trying to get there. He's frustrated. Wasn't his fault, was it? All the damage was done down that right-hand side.
It was. Jensen just found himself being half-turned, and Saka's body weight just pushed him off the ball. But the first time cross in from Saka was inch perfect, and Trossard, you could say that he couldn't miss, but actually he had to take care with that.
Yes, totally.
With that finish there.
At the other end, Brentford trying to get something. You're never as potentially fallible as when you've just scored, are you, Trev? And Arsenal have shown that a few times over recent months and years, I can tell you.
Yeah, it's a well-known fact in football that you're most vulnerable when you've just scored, because you're starting to not take care of the moment. You're thinking beyond that, and when you do that at this level of football, then you're going to get punished. And already Brentford are on the front foot.
Wow, it's a fascinating point of the game. Can the Bees respond at 1 down? 10 games, including this, since they last lost. Also looking for this to be the 47th different club that they've done a Premier League double over. And they've done a lot of the hard work so far. Long throw, though, from Jensen, flicked on by Ayer, looking for me. Granit Xhaka has gone down. Me's frustrated. He thinks that Xhaka has gone down too easily. The Swiss holding the back of his head. And he has won a free kick for Arsenal. Just what they want. Brentford were hoping to keep back-to-back clean sheets away from home. In fact, make it 3 in a row, which they haven't done ever. But not to be. Arsenal's goal, absolutely crucial. Is that, do you think, Trevor, enough today as we look at Mikel Arteta's steely gaze on the big screen?
I think what we've got 22 minutes left of normal time. I think there's a lot to happen yet in this game. But it could also play into Arsenal's hands. And Brentford push too far forward at this time. Arsenal are capable of opening up defences if they're a little bit disjointed. So Thomas Frank's team have got to be careful over the next 5 minutes themselves that they don't push too many men forward and leave themselves a little bit open at the back.
Fascinating gamesmanship. Eric A. Pyers. Eric and Betty loving the commentary on our road trip to Los Angeles, expecting a big response from Man United tomorrow. That's, of course, having drawn with Leeds and then playing them again. Very interesting. Eric, nice picture of your US Open Road, which we very much appreciate. At TalkSport Live, wherever you are around the world, let us know. Whack us a tweet. Send us a picture. Tell us what you're up to. We love to hear from you. And goals like that a couple of minutes ago from Trossard. Are we looking at potential champions of England here in Arsenal? It's not been great for much of the game, but what they needed to do, they found a way to do. And is this the kind of moment that might yet see Arteta's men all the way to title glory? 2004, the last time they won the Premier League. Nearly 20 years ago as they counter. Ødegaard was fouled, but Trossard so close to a second after advantage was played. Ødegaard threw his arms up, wanted the free kick. Trossard played on, beat his man. And in the end, from distance, the little Belgian was only about a yard over the bar. Nice effort.
Yeah, and he finds himself in an interesting position. You know, Martinelli was very much playing on that left-hand side, but Trossard's got himself into different areas of the field already, and he finds himself on the right this time. And he thought, well, I can either try and put an accurate pass through to his colleague, or I can have a blast from here. And he had a blast, and it wasn't so far away.
Going to see a couple of Brentford substitutions now. Johan Wissa is going to come on, as is Josh De Silva. Vitaly Janelt and Brian Mbeumo, the two to go off. Wissa, Congolese international, came from Ligue 1 in France. Good player, often starts. He's kind of 50-50 starter or bench. Powerful, quite a quick player, Johan Wissa, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's important to the way that Brentford want to play this last 20 minutes of the game, to have lots of pace up front. And Mbeumo was starting to tire. I think he's had a good game, but just not quite looking that fresh, to be honest with you.
Maybe it was that dodgy pass was the end for him.
Yeah, it was a telltale sign, when the head just starts to go a little bit. And anyway, with De Silva and Wissa on, you've now got lots of pace in your front line. Yeah,
De Silva, 3 goals this season. Good young player. Wissa's got 4, so a little bit of firepower off the bench to freshen things up. 71.5 gone. Arsenal 1, Brentford 0. On Premier League Live, there have been 2 goals now in the Palace-Brighton M23 derby. We'll take you to both of those in a couple of moments' time. We've underutilised Andrew Self so far, which is never a good thing. We'll hear 2 goals from Selfie in a second. All the other games as were. That said, there's been another goal, Leicester Spurs as we speak. We'll go there afterwards. 1-0 Arsenal on the attack through Saka, who made the goal to Ben White. Clips in the cross, stays in play. David Raya reads that one and keeps it in play. And we stay at 1-0. Will we see any other Arsenal subs at 0-0? I did notice Takehiro Tomiyasu warming up with great gusto. Now that they've scored, are you less likely to make that change potentially? I think you are.
Well, it depends on how you look at it, because Tomiyasu will be fresh, and we know that Brentford have brought on a couple of fresh forwards. So it's all up to Arteta on this one.
I'd say White is probably a better player in some ways in that regard, because he is an ex-centre half. He is quite solid defensively. You lose the odd dodgy cross, I grant you. I'm not sure whether perhaps in this regard it makes more sense to keep it like this.
It depends on how you see it, because Tomiyasu comes on, he loves to get forward.
And boy, can he when he's on top.
So do Arsenal go and get that second goal rather than just trying to protect this?
Yeah, put Brentford on the back foot down the flank.
Depends on what Mikel Arteta's seeing. As how he's visualising this last 17 minutes.
Who'd be a manager, eh?
Yeah, I'd do it for a week.
And then come back to me for the weekend.
Then I'd get found out after a week.
And then you'd be back, tail between your legs on Premier League Live.
I talk a good game.
Back in the bar afterwards, didn't he? Great work. 73 gone, Arsenal 1, Brentford 0. It is a Brentford free kick from distance. Floated into Tony. Clever cross shot. Saliba gets it half clear. Wissa's first touch is to float it back in, looking for Pinnock. Ramsdale comes, can't get there. Ivan Toney can get there. And Toney levels things up in the London derby. It's his 15th of the season. Arsenal had 2 chances to clear their lines and couldn't. It was meat and drink to this brilliant hitman. Toney heads it home. Arsenal 1, Brentford 1. Game on.
Well, you have to say that they deserve that. They've been great in this game as far as I'm concerned, Brentford. And my goodness, did you see Pinnock leap for the ball there? When he got up, he was at least 2-3 feet above everybody else.
Like the proverbial salmon.
Yes, he was. Just watch this when the ball comes back through. Ooh, is there an element of offside? A lot of bodies in there.
Is Christopher Ayer offside, but would he have been interfering with play? Well, I wonder whether Ayer is offside as the ball is crossed, but I'm not entirely sure he has any key role in the goal other than just maybe at one point taking an eye line. I don't think that's a problem.
No, just have to wait. You never know with VAR, do you?
You never know.
Just don't know what's going to happen now. But Pinnock was brilliant the way that he rose for that first initial ball, which allowed this opportunity.
And well done to Norgard to get the cross in after Pinnock had won the ball. As you say, Norgard then flicks it in. He was clattered into by Ramsdale, and he showed good touch and good bravery to get that back across to Ivan Toney.
It looks like he's picked out Ivan Toney there rather than just go for goal.
It's being checked by VAR. It is being checked by VAR. Now, we think that's for Christopher Ayer. He is offside, Christopher Ayer. It's not just him. It's whether Pinnock's offside as well. Are the two players offside? And obviously, Pinnock was a key part of play because it was his leap that then found the two players that combined for the goal. So, yeah, we're right. Ayer's irrelevant. Is the second man, Pinnock, offside as well? What are your thoughts? This is very close.
But the angle that we've been able to look at is non-conclusive, but it looks like he could be offside.
He's up against Gabriel, Ethan Pinnock, and he's kind of enveloping Gabriel's body, and I think his right shoulder is possibly ahead of Gabriel's.
The ball does come right over the top of him when he's not involved in the game, and it comes to Ivan Toney at the back post. So, this is where VAR confuses me. Is he eventually going to be given his offside? Because he does win a header as we're watching it just there, and the ball ends up in the back of the net.
I think that would be the reason, but no, I think it's been given. As you say, this is confusing, isn't it? Because if he's offside, he does ultimately, a couple of phases down the line, be the player that sets the goal up.
Yeah, you're in dangerous territory.
But at that point,
that's dangerous territory if you're going 2 phases down the line. That you can give a VAR decision against the goal. It really is.
Maybe that's why it's been given as a goal then. It is a goal, and it is 1-1.
Because the game had moved on. The game had moved on from that moment.
It is a tricky one, isn't it? Here from distance is Zinchenko, saved from distance by Raya. We've already seen one Arsenal newbie, Leandro Trossard, get his first goal for the club today. Zinchenko's been here all season, yet to get his. Had a pop with his right foot. At least this one, unlike his other efforts, has been on target, but fairly easily saved by the Brentford stopper.
Yeah, but overall, Brentford have been really, really good in this game. If they were going to go away from this game with no points at all, I would think Thomas Frank would feel really hard done to. Long way to go yet.
We'll bring you all of those other goals in just a couple of moments' time. It's all got a bit tasty and exciting here. I think we can possibly bring you on now. Ball ends up on the roof of the net. Ramsdale won't now take the quick goal kick, so we'll take you to the first of those Crystal Palace-Brighton goals.
It is Purvis, Estupiñán and McAllister exchanging passes. Estupiñán 17 yards out, cross it right across the face of goal, and it's turned in by Solly March. Gets right in the back. We have a goal in the M23 derby, and Solly March gets the goal, and Solly March gets himself his 5th Premier League goal of the season.
Solly March has had some stunning performances this season. He's been absolutely brilliant. He's been a man resurgent, hasn't he?
I'm smiling because I took him out of my fantasy league team this morning.
Don't ever be a manager, Trevor. God, I'm actually top of my fantasy football league. I'm actually top of mine.
I'm sitting here watching this game and I'm a little bit sick about
What are
that.
they called? Stephen Stinkers.
Yeah, exactly.
Hargo's Harriers are
mind.
flying in my one, I'm pleased to say. Deary me. Okay, we'll get back to the other goal there. At one point, Leicester had gone 4-1 up against Spurs, but that's now been chalked out via VAR and is back to 3-1. But another goal in the Southampton Wolves game, by the way, as well. So we'll take you there in a moment. We'll take you to the other goal in the Palace game. But here come Arsenal through Nketiah. Clever little cross. And guess who? The magnet, the human magnet that is Ethan Pinnock, makes the block, but it's at the expense after a nice move down the left-hand side of an Arsenal corner.
Oh, what a great game Pinnock's had in both penalty areas, and he's just been a colossus.
Short corner from Trossard to Zinchenko. In space is Erdegaard. Chance to maybe shoot. Oh, Erdegaard got that awfully wrong. He rushed it, miskicked it. He does, to his credit, the Arsenal skipper, atone for the error, scurry back and win the ball. but the ball is not in the attacking, promising position that it was before the miss kick. White in field, Xhaka, now to Trossard, thinking about a second goal maybe. Nketiah, back to Thomas Partey, whose pass to Trossard left a little to be desired. Trossard had to break stride. Zinchenko tries to slot one through. His pass is blocked by the new man, Josh Da Silva. Clever through ball this time to Nketiah, who twists, turns, and maybe overdid it there. In the end, Norgard made the block. I wonder whether Eddie Nketiah, having created the room, should have possibly shot from the edge of the 6-yard box.
Yeah, I think he considered it was a little bit tight, and we'd have to get a real snapshot off and try to pick out another Arsenal player, but it was intercepted.
Wissa's given it away. Here's Zinchenko! Just wide from Alexander Zinchenko. Better effort. Raya was worried. It was about a yard wide of the left-hand post. Arsenal, again, back to asking more questions.
Yeah, he put his foot through that, didn't he? And it does go across the face of David Raya's goal. But kind of curved away from goal when he wanted it to go the other way. If it had done, it could have very well been in the net.
No team has scored more set-piece goals than Brentford this season with 14. 5 penalties as well. Intriguing how their goal today, also again, came initially from a set-piece. As we talked about, there were several phases beyond it, and that's where some of the controversy lay, because Pinnock was quite possibly just offside right at the start, but after the ball pinged around a couple of times, Pinnock then leapt and nudged it across for a combination of Norgard and then Tony to poke the ball through. They are very strong in this regard, and as we've touched on, Arsenal seem to be getting increasingly soft over the last few games in similar situations, don't they? Which is an old issue that blighted them that they appeared maybe to have worked out.
Yeah, the set pieces have been causing them a problem in recent weeks, and that's something that they'll have to correct.
Particularly with Man City in town on Wednesday. Fabio Vieira is coming on for Granit Xhaka. You wondered whether Xhaka's day today might be done. Vieira, a couple of goals, also scored in the corresponding fixture at the start of the season as a new player, having just come in from Porto. Fabio Vieira is a big fan favourite. He'll be on in a second. White's cross is another good one, looking for Trossard, and a heroic diving header clear from Mads Roslev. Roslev had to put his body on the line there, otherwise Trossard, from that probing right-wing cross, could have had another. Just wide, out for a corner. Vieira's on, and he wanted to take that corner immediately, but Trossard has waved him off.
There was a good header clearance there from Roslev, sticking to the job that he has to do, making sure he does that defensive job perfectly.
Trossard puffs out his cheeks, signals a high delivery. That's what it is. It's a decent delivery. Mee's up there under pressure from Saliba. Both going for it. Ben Mee has perhaps collided with the Frenchman. Another player down as well in the corner, which I think maybe is Christopher Ayer. We've got 2 Brentford players down clutching their heads. Arsenal's fans frustrated about those two. But we'll have a little break in play, Trevor, while both these Brentford defenders are attended to.
Yeah, that's a tough one there. Ben Mee has gone up. He's got a crack on the head. I think originally Nketiah wasn't really having that, but yeah, Ben Mee's definitely taken a bit of a blow to the head there.
Okay, well that happens. Let's take you first of all to that second goal in the Palace Brighton. Yourself?
Into the goal, but it's a very poor cross. It's dropped. Tompkins gets the equaliser. What a howler by Robert Sanchez! Oh, it's an absolute gift from Sanchez. It's a terrible ball in by Elise. Sanchez under no pressure drops it onto the floor, bounces up. Tompkins heads it in.
Oh dear. Robert Sanchez didn't sound like his most glorious moment, did it?
No, it sounds a howler brings all sorts of things to mind, doesn't it?
Most certainly does. So that is now 1-1 Palace Brighton. Still Fulham 1, Forest 0. As I mentioned, there's been another goal in the Southampton-Wolves game that was 1-0 Southampton with Wolves down to 10 men. We'll go there in a moment. And we'll also go back to Leicester-Spurs in a moment, because 3-1 has now become, I won't say what, but there's been another goal in that one too. But here, Trevor, 7 minutes plus time added on to go. Mikel Arteta's having a chat to the fourth official, feeling that maybe the treatment for these 2 Brentford players is lingering on a bit. Mee has had to go off because, of course, he received treatment on the field. I think he'll be fine, the veteran, to come straight back on. Ayer, on this side of the field, seems to have been less afflicted. But again, that tension, that pressure, it's all starting to reboil, isn't it? Arsenal had done the hard work, they'd led, and they could not hold on.
Yeah, and just during that break, Mikel Arteta was getting very, very animated with his own players, really shouting at the faces of Nketiah and Odegaard, just to get that urgency going, just to keep it going till the end of the game.
6 minutes plus time added on to go, and I think there'll be a fair bit of time added on with the VAR check, the injuries and so on. Partey plays a 1-2 with Nketiah. Partey to White in space, tries a little cross shot. Ethan Pinnock, man of the moment. Another excellent interception on the edge of his own 6-yard box to get there just ahead of Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah, he's there again, isn't he? His anticipation of reading the game as well has been excellent.
Arsenal coming forward down the right-hand side this time. 1-2 between White and Saka. Back to Ben White. Tomiyasu now potentially come on now that the game is level. And as we've both alluded to, just bomb down that right-hand side and be a more potent attacking threat. The Japanese, I wonder. And ball is moved for now to the left-hand side. Zinchenko back to Leandro Trossard, who has done so well since coming on. Again, Trossard crossfield ball because he's seen Saliba in space. Tries a little through ball, the young Frenchman. So impressive on loan at 2 different clubs, most recently Marseille in France, before returning to the mothership. Trossard back to Zinchenko, left edge of the D, has another shot. Blocked by De Silva. Saka has a go. And even the great Bukayo Saka rushed that one and shanked it high, wide and handsome.
Yeah, he couldn't have got that much more wrong than he did there, and you don't expect that from Saka. The ball bounced up nicely for him, just outside the penalty area, but again, the shot wasn't up to standard. Yeah, again, Arsenal trying to push the ball around, a lot of touches in and around the penalty area, but not being able to find that ball in. The goal that they got was the first ball in the game that they've actually got in early and got a runner on the end of, which was Trossard.
Don't forget, Man City here on Wednesday, but then after that, it's a fairly, say, winnable, because current evidence for Arsenal with 2 losses and a potential draw in their last 3 in all comps, I don't think it's maybe that winnable, but I'll tell you in a moment, after City, about Arsenal's run. And if you are a worried Arsenal fan around the world, it might bring at least a little smile to your face. Main job, though, is to get the job done here. Fabio Vieira, new man, wearing 21. To Partey, now to White. But again, it's all a bit static and lacking in drive and invention. Arteta still gesticulating, waving, shouting, just trying to help his players through. Knees interception. Did he prevent the corner? He did. There'll be a throw to Arsenal by the far left corner flag. Taken quickly. Saka's got 2 men immediately on him, including Christian Norgard, who's had a really good second half. Assisted for the goal. And it's just been everywhere. Really has stepped up, the captain, and answered Brentford's call in the second half. Aston Villa away, Leicester away, Everton at home, Bournemouth at home, Fulham away, Crystal Palace at home. Those are the league fixtures, 6 of them, mid-table or lower table, after Man City. Promising run possibly for Arsenal. Zinchenko, right-footed delivery, blocked. No Arsenal player is able to then get onto the loose ball. Tony won it, tried to chest it down as far as the new man Wissa, but Partey read that one and won it back for the home team. 87 gone, Premier League Live. Still Arsenal 1, Brentford 1. The Gunners 5 clear of Man City, who play tomorrow. Need to surely find a way. They've got to reassert their ascendancy, re-stamp their authority on this title race after this little mini blip that looks set possibly to continue. Trossard as far as Saka to Nketiah. Pinnock back with the block again. Much better, neat interplay from Arsenal. And it fell to Nketiah, who went to pull the trigger, and Pinnock and Raya between them somehow snuffed the chance out. Just.
Really good football from Arsenal. Trossard into Saka. First time pass into the way of Martinelli, who turns his body beautifully. But again, Pinnock was the man who was there just at the right moment.
Man of the match, I think, Ethan Pinnock. For most of us, he's been absolutely excellent. And some other very strong performances from Brentford, but Pinnock has been a colossus at the back, and he got there just ahead of Nketiah. And stopped Nketiah, looking for a 14th goal in 14 home starts in all competitions. That's how much he loves starting at Emirates Stadium. Here is Nketiah, plays the ball inadvertently off Josh De Silva, kind of worked, and Arsenal can counter from here. Back to Eddie Nketiah, now to Fabio Vieira as Arsenal smooth the ball to the left edge of the box. Vieira to Trossard, back to Nketiah again, took another ricochet, but still the Gunners come. Again, 3 Brentford players in and around their Arsenal counterparts. Trossard to Zinchenko. Vieira vacated the space that Zinchenko tried to play the ball to. Brentford got it. And now Trossard has brought Wisser down and Brentford have got a free kick. That's deeply frustrating for two different reasons for the home side.
Yeah, as Arsenal are probing, Brentford were diligent, really sticking to their tasks in and around the penalty area. And that little break there, which was a potential counter-attack, Trossard brings the player down to the ground just to stop the play.
It's all heated over here as Trossard and De Silva both go to the ball. One player wanted to take a quick throw. The other tried to block him. Referee Banks just saying to both, I'm in charge, calm down. Let's take it to that critical goal. Southampton, bottom of the table, were leading 10-man Wolves 1-0.
Bueno down the left-hand side, dangerous ball in towards Costa. First shot blocked, second opportunity. Traore off the line, but an own goal. Oh, that is an absolute horror piece of defending there by Bednarek.
Jan Bednarek with an own goal back into the team and steering it into his own net. 1-1. You kind of alluded to it. Could Southampton get it done? The answer appears to be no.
Yeah, Wolves down to 10 men as well. You would have thought that Southampton would dig deep and keep that 3 points, but that big 2 points to lose.
An additional 5 minutes here at Emirates Stadium has just flashed up from the fourth officials board. We tick just into the first of 5. White adjudged to have fouled Tony. White looks as if he'd done nothing wrong, but I do wonder if he just nicked a tiny bit of the man as well as the ball. The frustrations continue for Arsenal. 30 seconds of time added on gone so far. The Gunners, increasingly, you do wonder from here, are they going to do it? They've had 86% possession in the last 10 minutes, Trevor. Yes, they've asked a few okay-ish questions, but it's just not enough, is it?
No, they've just been too predictable, and I don't think they've been aggressive enough, in the turnover and that sort of transition that happens throughout the game. Just got to get the ball forward far quicker, because Brentford have been so well drilled defensively. They have been able to cope with most of the things that Arsenal have thrown at them.
1 of 5 additional minutes gone. Saliba lets the ball trickle out for a goal kick under fairly stark pressure from Rico Henry. Brentford, by the way, have got a fairly tasty run of fixtures coming up too. They've got Palace, Fulham, Everton, Southampton and Leicester as their next 5. So into the top 6 or 7. Could they even be looking high? We'll have to wait and see. Here come Arsenal. Trossard to Vieira. Air of tension around the stadium as Trossard dinks one in looking for Nketiah, who I think was just too easily shoved off the ball there. There was a fairly kind of limp waft of his foot to try and direct the ball forward under pressure from Pinnock. But Brentford don't push out and Arsenal win it back. Ødegaard again to Nketiah. Appeals for handball off Ben Mee, but I think Nketiah just played it straight off Mee's chest. If it did flick his arm, it was in very much a natural tucked-in silhouette. And the ball is back to Raya. And now that frustration really is boiling over from the fans, isn't it?
Yeah, Ivan Toney's down, and as we're well into added-on time, crowd very frustrated.
3 additional minutes to go. Harvey Barnes has got a 4th for Leicester. They lead Spurs 4-1 now. And I think it was Alexander Mitrovic looking at our screen celebrating. He's got a 2nd for Fulham. They now lead Forest 2-0. And there has been another goal in the Southampton Wolves game as well. I won't tell you which way that one has gone. Some exciting finales elsewhere. Still 1-1 Palace and Brighton. And still 1-1 here, with about 2.5 minutes, plus I'm sure a little more additional to go, because Ivan Toney is still receiving treatment. And this will, of course, Trevor, all be added on, won't it?
Yeah, it will be added on, so we're not missing anything here. But Arsenal have just having that little bit of self-doubt, it seems, in the performance, albeit they've dominated possession. Just that cutting edge seems to be missing. We did have a little view of Gabriel Jesus on the monitor that we have with us. We just saw him in the crowd, and I think a camera had gone to him, because he seems to be the element that's missing at this moment.
Even though we had said earlier, Nketiah has, over time, fitted in and started to perform that role well, but I think perhaps, as you say, when the pressure is really on and in these key moments, Jesus is a proven title winner, brilliant player. He is perhaps just that dimension more and that notch better, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got the know-how. I think he's got
schooled at City, as we know.
Extra, that tiny bit that makes a difference.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Nketiah can't get there, but he's not there yet.
No, he was almost unplayable, Jesus, at those first few weeks of the season. Cooled off slightly with his goals before his injury, but was still such an important threat, such a great piece of link work. He is here, he is watching. He's in such a thick puffer jacket, you could barely see any of him. You could just see a pair of eyes staring out, because it is fairly nippy here in North London.
Nervous moment now, though.
Absolutely.
Corner to Brentford, and you can see a bit of anxiousness on those faces of the Arsenal defenders.
Yes, as we've been chatting there, Brentford came down the left-hand side, never that probing, but Arsenal safety first have put it behind for a corner, and the corner will be taken by Matthias Jensen, wearing 8, right-footed. Swings it in, throwing himself at it was Nketiah. Foul, I think, by Norgard there on Zinchenko. Zinchenko was trying to burst clear, was hacked down, and it's all boiled over now. Both sets of players have reined in on each other. There's shoving, there's words being shared. It's all gone a bit toxic after the foul by Norgard on Zinchenko. The referee's doing his best to try and calm things down, but for a couple of moments that got very heated and pretty nasty.
I think that's a reflection on the tension in the game and the result. Arsenal players have completely overreacted there, and we've seen it many times this season. It's a criticism that Mikel Arteta and his side have brought upon themselves, because there was just a complete overreaction there.
Frustration among the issues boiling over, and as you say, Arsenal on many occasions have been very animated in terms of players, certainly from the touchline as well. As we take a look at the replay, Zinchenko's trying to burst clear, and Norgard, does hack him down. It's not a great challenge. It probably should be a yellow card, but whether it warrants such an extreme reaction is your point, and I think it's a valid point.
It certainly didn't merit that kind of overreaction. Referee's got on with it now, booked a couple of players, and
going to see another Brentford substitution. Kevin Schade, the German, on loan from Freiburg, wearing 9. He's going to come on for Ivan Toney to kill a few more seconds. Very, very late on in this one.
It's just really just one of those eating up time substitutions. Schade will come on. He probably won't even get a kick of the ball, to be quite honest with you. But Ivan Toney comes off. I think he's led the line brilliantly, Ivan Toney. Him and Mbeumo in the first half in particular, I thought were very, very effective. But he's a threat, and he gets himself on the score sheet once again.
So Norgard did go into the book. We've ticked into almost the 97th minute of time added on, and there'll still be a few more seconds. Ramsdale boots the ball downfield. Saka's gone down. He's appealed for a free kick. Nothing given. Retrospectively, though, I think a free kick has now been given. Arsenal were about to take a throw through Nketiah. Saka is down and appears to be in some pain. Hopefully he's okay from an Arsenal and England point of view. But Saka, I think, has won a free kick. And as we tick into that 98th minute now of 5, this will be the final play, surely, of the game, and one more chance for Arsenal.
I would think so. Saka took a knock on his ankle there. Looked to be in considerable amount of pain, but he's got himself back to his feet. You're right. Good. Well,
there was no free kick. There was a long check, and the decision is just the throw in the end. 97-20 gone. Arsenal 1, Brentford 1, Premier League Live. Partey's long throw. Saliba's up there. Pinnock beats him to the ball, but back to Partey. Here's Ødegaard from distance. Twist tries to beat Henry. Finds Partey back on the overlap. Dinks in the cross. Deep one looking for Gabriel across goal. Headed clear by Ayer. Gabriel tries to shepherd it behind for a throw, and does so. That's taken quickly by Fabio Vieira. Zinchenko fouled by the new man Schade. He goes into the book. Zinchenko is properly in the wars, and Arsenal, having had a throw on the right side, have now got a free kick on the left side.
I think that's the first time he's got anywhere near the ball, Schade. He's only been on the pitch a couple of minutes, but this could be a real opportunity for Arsenal. Need decent quality in. The only problem is that Pinnock's been dominating that central part of the goal area, hasn't he, for Brentford?
Fabio Vieira will take it. 98-20 gone. This is so tense. This is so exciting. This could be such a critical moment in the title race battle. Arsenal, 1 point from a possible 6. Would just simply not cut it, even though those around them are faltering. They need a win. With Wednesday to come against City here, they need a statement. And they've got one more chance to do it. Free kick about 30 yards out from the left-hand side. Vieira bends it in. It's an awful delivery. It's straight down the throat of David Raya. What was that?
I mean, that was poor. I don't know why he took it, really. I think Odegaard would have seemed to be the man to do it, but that's it. It's all over. Final whistle goes.
That's a really limp way for it to end, I'm afraid, for Arsenal. That's really, really frustrating. And in the end, Brentford have got a point. They thoroughly deserve their point. But from Arsenal's point of view, the way they just kind of almost threw in the towel at the end with that free kick was really, really frustrating. And you could argue a little worrying for what lies ahead in terms of the mentality and the drive and the energy of these title contenders. Leandro Trossard had put Arsenal ahead off the bench with his first goal for the club. And after Brentford, despite being second best in possession, have carved out so many good opportunities of their own. They equalised courtesy of Ivan Toney, who was given via VAR after a melee in the box. Pinnock, Odegaard involved, 1-1. That is the final score right here on Premier League Live. Okay, one more late goal I've got to bring you. I've told you about a few, bought you a few, but 1-1, Southampton Wolves. Wolves, 10 men, were losing, back to 1-1 at St Mary's, and then, very late on, this happened.
87 minutes gone. Wolves have the ball. Neves chips one forwards. It won't quite find Sarabia, who's playing in a more advanced position, but then it's given away by Southampton in central midfield. It's a shot from the edge of the area, and then a second opportunity, and it's a goal for Wolves. João Gomez, first effort blocked, second effort fell kindly, and João Gomez, the substitute, curls one into the right-hand corner, and 10-man Wolves have come from behind with 3 minutes remaining to lead Southampton by 2-1. Nathan Jones shakes his head. Wolves have found a way, despite Lamina being sent off, despite falling behind, to find the sucker punch on the south coast. João Gomez's first shot was blocked by Bednarek, who scored the own goal. It fell back to Gomez once again, and he found a peach of a finish.
Ben Jacobs calling that Wolves win, and the pressure mounts and mounts now on Nathan Jones as Saints lose again at home and stay mired to the bottom. That one of many intriguing stories. We'll review them all and look ahead with Toby Gillis and get the teams ahead of our evening game. All of that and much more to come right here on Premier League Live.